Evening folks, this is BestInSlot with a chill little video finally for our Return to Jurassic Park DLC highlights. All we're going to do in this video is take a look at every single brand new building in the game. Some of these, okay, very few of these, are part of the update in general, referring really basically to the redwood trees we're going to look at in a little bit, but most of this is part of the DLC. Now how this works is you'll select a JP era or a Jurassic World era when you're playing challenge mode, when you're playing sandbox, and then you'll have access to buildings only from that era. The only building that crosses over in its entirety, as in it keeps the same shape, it keeps the same style, etc., is the Aviary. Every other building either doesn't make it across or does make it across but in a different form. So let's take a little look around the park and have a look at all the different items and indeed decorations that are going to be available to you if you get hold of the DLC. First things first, we have the Arrival Helipad. This replaces the Arrival monorail from Jurassic World. It's actually really cool, although there isn't much to it, and perfect timing with the helicopter arriving just then. You can put this anywhere you want in your park. This is the first time we've had control over where your guests will enter the park, and it makes a lot of sense because it's a helicopter rather than a monorail. The monorail would have been a bit finicky. This time we can just have our helipad, put it down, and our guests will arrive. You can only place one of these, but still. Get a good little look at that. Again, we're going to see this thatched roof style a lot. The Jurassic Park buildings are mainly combinations of thick concrete and lovely jubbly thatched roofs. Shut up outside worlds. So let's move on. You're going to see a lot of that. Let's hop into Ansel, make it look a little fancier. Next up, no, that's far too much depth of field there, my friend. Next up, we have the restroom. This one, of course, does not really look like the one from Jurassic Park itself. We are going to see that later on. It's actually interesting. They actually mentioned this during the developer diary for the DLC. And it was simply that the one from Jurassic Park wouldn't have fit with the size, etc., that they needed to do for this DLC. So instead we got their own version, and it's just a hut. It does come with some lovely plant life, which makes it blend into the kind of tropical theme that Isla Nublar and ergo the restrooms originally had. What else do we have? Over here we have Jurassic Gifts, a moderately simple little circular thatched hut. We've got this lovely ammonite bone sort of fossil design around the bottom. My main favourite bit of all these buildings, really, other than the plants, and I really do like this ammonite design that's used, very similar to the patterning that you'd get on the original Jurassic Park door at the visitor centre. But the signs are really cool. Jurassic Gifts, this big font, this aged wood with the gradient. It's... people are fuming outside. It's very Jurassic Park-esque in its colouring, and it makes me happy just to look at it. Look at that, it's beautiful. Get it in your face. Right, and next to that we have Jurassic Cafe. It is worth noting that Jurassic Cafe is the only food shop, Jurassic Gifts is the only shop, the only gift shop. A lot of the buildings from the Jurassic World era did not make the journey to Jurassic Park. It really got condensed down pretty bloody heavily, which to an extent makes things easier. You need less shops, but you do end up needing more of them. So it's a good thing they look pretty cool. Jurassic Cafe does have this rather odd wooden trellis at the front. I'm not really sure what that's meant to achieve, but there you go. And we have the same font style that we had over here with the gifts text there. A little bit less thatching going on here. I guess you want to mix things up, but we are seeing a lot of that thick concrete that you will come to associate with this DLC, and indeed Jurassic Park in general. Jurassic Cafe just seems a little bit more restrained than the other buildings. It's a little bit fancier, you know. The plants aren't just lying around on the ground like they are here, but instead they're contained in little plant box things, otherwise known as planters to normal people. Or plant pots. You know, it could be anything, just plant pot things. Moving on then. Next over here we have the guest shelter bunker Thingamajiggy. This replaces obviously the Jurassic World guest shelter. It is quite a close, you know, approximation of the one we already had, but this one is lovingly redesigned to look somewhat like the bunker from Jurassic Park itself. The telltale signs really are, you know, that thick metal door in the middle, but really these kind of wings of concrete that spread out from the middle. Those to me scream Jurassic Park bunker. Of course I'm talking about the bunker where Ellie and Muldoon, Muldoon does not make it. Ellie goes to and Arnold goes to, and she's running from the raptor. She charges inside, she slams this metal door behind her like that, pachow, and then she heads down the stairs and has her whole little adventure. We've got some a lot of air conditioning in the bunker. Anyways, moving on, we next have the hotel. We're going to hop off Ansel for this one just because it is rather large. You'll remember the hotel we had in Jurassic World. Well, this one is very different. It's like a little Copacabana kind of thing. It's very, very chill. You could have this in a beach resort sort of thing, and that makes a lot of sense for Jurassic Park, which at the end of the day is on a tropical island. So we see a lot more of the thatching. People enter through this pathway over here. They walk through this terrifying dark hut. They get changed irrevocably, and then they walk along these wooden walkways and into the hotel. When your park is actually open, people will sit at these little tables and at the side and look out into the park. It's actually pretty cool. It looks less like a hotel and more like a resort, which at the end of the day is kind of what Jurassic Park was meant to be. And that's sold by nothing more than these thousands of palm trees they've dotted all around. It's a common thing with the Jurassic Park buildings. They shove a lot of foliage in there. So you do have to kind of meet them halfway. If you just put this in the middle of like a concrete area, it's going to look a little bit weird. But if you stick a couple of trees in there around the side, suddenly those palm trees blend in completely and the whole thing looks pretty damn cool. We're going to hop back onto NVIDIA Ansel and I'm going to go check out Jurassic Park Tour. It is facing the wrong way, unfortunately. We've got this kind of bony colour instead. Again, the return of this trilobite fossil, buried fossil kind of texture. A few more plants there as per usual. But really we want to swing around here. There's our new tour vehicle. Of course, the tour is super duper important in this DLC. So in Jurassic World, the dinosaur, as in Jurassic World Evolution, dinosaur visibility doesn't actually matter. It helps you get your park off the ground, but you can have a very low dinosaur visibility and still have a 5-star park. If you're playing on the Jurassic Park era, which you will be if you're using the park tour, that will no longer be possible. Dinosaur visibility is super important. It really is. It's absolutely fundamental to getting yourself a high scoring park, and the only way to get dinosaur visibility is using the park tour. So this little building here is possibly, other than say the entrance building, which you need for people to arrive in the first place, this is possibly the most important building in the entire park. Just one of these can be the difference between 2 stars and 4 stars or something like that. I will say, I've only just noticed this, I could be going crazy, but is this entranceway meant to resemble the concrete tunnels that we have in Jurassic Park? You'll remember when they first approach the Tyrannosaurus Rex paddock, they actually emerge from a concrete tunnel. You don't really see it in the film, you catch a little glimpse, and it does look something like this, as my memory recalls. That's, again, just, there's little nods everywhere that I really like, and again, we're mixing and matching that thick concrete and that thatched roof. Moving on, if you take the tour, you can go through a gate. We'll see the gate later, but really the reason you're taking the tour is so you get to look at this. The Jurassic Park gates have been added to the game, and they are, in a word, marvellous. They're big, stony, permanently fiery. They look cool at night. We can even check that out right now super easily. Let's make it nighttime for the hell of it. There they are, burning brightly, looking majestic as balls. That was short-lived. But yeah, they're really cool. The car goes through, the gates open, it actually opens from both sides if you do go around the wrong way, and even your ranger vehicles, as you drive them around your park, they can go through these Jurassic Park gates as well. It's worth noting you can only place these on the tour, but it is also worth noting you can put down as many of them as you like, as long as you've got a gate there, as long as you've got a fence, I should say, for your tour vehicle to go through, you can stick a Jurassic Park gate on. So you could have 100 of these in your exhibit if you so chose. That'd be a lot of fence, but that would also be a lot of flaming Jurassic Park gates, which is cool. Over here we have the brand new Hatchery. Some people have mentioned it resembles a little bit of the Lost World Laboratory in some ways. I'm not really sure about that, but still. Again, we're bringing back the thick concrete more than anything else. And I definitely get a little bit of Raptor Pen vibe from the walkway around the outside. That's very Velociraptor Pen, which again, I think the original Hatchery was based on, if only a little bit as well. Just because it is a large concrete block with, some grass bits in the middle. It wasn't a Raptor hatchery in Jurassic Park, it was a Raptor holding pen sort of thing, but same kind of deal really. And yeah, it's just a nice big chunky building, really nice design. I've always felt the hatcheries are excessively large, and that is still definitely the case. This thing is absolutely goddamn humongous, but it is nicer than the modern Jurassic World one, I'll give it that. And there's lots of little details like the ladder and the little, look, you can even look down here. I'm just going to have a cheeky little peek down here. We can see some tyres and barrels away into the darkness. There's just little things everywhere you look, which is something I always really like in stuff like this. Moving swiftly on from that though, because this is already taking far longer than I expected. Next up on our list we have the Visitor Centre itself. A gorgeous recreation of possibly one of the most iconic buildings in film ever, if not the most iconic. I'm trying to think of a more iconic building, and I'm struggling a little bit. Are there any more iconic buildings from films than the Jurassic Park Visitor Centre? If you can think of any, let me know in the comments. But this is definitely up there. Again, we have that same body pattern, but this one is built much more around that original Jurassic Park gate with the beautiful inlay of the Tyrannosaurus Rex towards the top. That every detail is perfect. So we've got the inlay, we've got the steeped concrete above the door like that, bam, 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 as it heads down, and then that thick teardrop radial sun sort of door shape in the middle. If you see a broken version of this building, and I have shown it in my gameplay before, so go check that out in my video from a couple of weeks ago when we first got a gameplay preview. If you look inside the broken version, you can actually see the "When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth" banner lying on the ground. It's just an awesome little detail. We've got the garage entrances at the side. It's actually how people are entering, but this should be, I believe, a garage entrance. We are using them as people entrances, but that's not what they're for in the film. And yeah, again, not much to add on this one. Little helipad at the back, because you do use this to do your expeditions, your fossil expeditions and stuff like that. It doesn't 100% match up with the shape. I believe this bit sticking out should be further to the top, but at the end of the day, you always have to make some concessions for the game. The important bit, which is this frontal face, is perfect. Alright, just a few big buildings left. We have a new storm defense station, one that in my opinion is a humongous upgrade. Again, I'm gonna say that for everything, I guess. A humongous upgrade on the Jurassic World version. It just feels more grounded. It feels like a real building, not some weird ball, you know? No offense to the weird ball. I have no problem with weird balls, but this is, yeah, it's just better. It looks realistic, it looks grounded. It looks like you'd see it in like Twister or something, and Twister is awesome. Twister was also, by the way, written by Michael Crichton, which is cool. Anyways, so there we have it. The Storm Defense Station. Love this little radial pattern on here. I'm not going to pretend to understand what everything on here is meant to be, but it looks cool. That's all I've got. It looks like it's little details. It's a consistent running theme, is this thick, plastery, concrete kind of material. Even though the top of this looks nothing like the others, because of that consistent use of materials, it still fits in with the whole park. And really, you're going to see that a lot. You see that over here with our Ranger Outpost. Now, the Jurassic Park era does not have an ACU. There's no helicopters you can use to tranquilize and stuff like that. You will be relying on your Ranger team. So it's a good job. They've got a lovely little base to live in. Again, little details. We've got a bin out there around the back, and we've got like some little, no idea what these are, things, and some tires and little air conditioning units, just little things. And this is, again, a building that doesn't really link in with the others too much. This kind of slat wood design does stick out quite a bit, I'd say, compared to every other building around here. Moving on from that, we only have two more buildings to look at. One is the Raptor Pen. Now, the Raptor Pen is actually included in the enclosures tab, because during the campaign, this, I'm not going to call this a spoiler, this is like the first thing you do in the campaign, you contain some Velociraptors in the Raptor Pen. That makes a lot of sense. That's what it's used for in the film. We can see a lot of the nods to the film here. We've got the, this is, you know, where the opening of Jurassic Park basically takes place right here, where they're transporting the big one out of the Raptor Pen, or into the Raptor Pen. I'm actually not sure now that I think about it. I want to say in? I want to say out. I'm going to say out. We've got the tower up here with this man holding his stomach because it's about to explode for some unknown reason. Maybe he's, you know, xenomorph or something. Overlooking everything. Again, the walkway around the outside with that kind of angled metal beams towards the middle. That's what I was referring to a little earlier. Really, the only thing we're missing is a floating cow. But we do have the opening in the middle where the cow would have descended, and then you hear that. Okay, it doesn't sound like that, but you know what I mean. Something like that. Again, this is a pretty cool little detail when this gets broken. And again, you'll have seen this in the campaign gameplay if you've played the game, or indeed seen my gameplay. This fence on the side, it breaks open, it rips open in exactly the same way as it does in the film. You only see it very briefly. Muldoon and Ellie, when they're walking towards the bunker that we talked about earlier, in order to get power back on in the park, they walk past the Velociraptor pen, and you see that the bars at the top have been splayed outwards as the raptors have escaped. That is exactly what it looks like. Again, just a very cool little nod to the film. The building doesn't actually do a bloody thing. It's useless. It's used in the campaign a couple of times, but in terms of a decoration, well, that's what it is. It's essentially a decoration. It's a cool one, but you can't put raptors into it, basically. That's what I'm trying to say, outside of the campaign. Our final actual placeable building then is the biggest of the lot. You can see how it dominates everything else on the map there. It is, of course, the Aviary. You can use this to house up to 6 Pteranodons, and they'll fly around in looped animations around the whole place. You can also click on it, and hopefully we can do this with it shut. You can show view, and there are 9 or so, I think it's 9 last time I counted, 9 or so different camera views around the whole thing. We've got like a little viewing area for your humans down here. We have a hatchery up there and there. We've got some caged walkways and sort of pillars along the whole thing, and you also see some little like white dropping areas, which I think is meant to be droppings. And down there we also have the staff entrance. And there's our Jurassic Park 3 Aviary, unlocked quite far into the campaign, it must be said. This is really the only building that takes a long time to unlock. The Jurassic Tour as well is not available from the get-go. Now, with all the buildings done, there's still a few more things to take a look at. The first is over here. We're going to take a quick little look at the fences. We've got our new gate. Nothing particularly exciting about the gate. We've got a couple of cool new fences here. This one in particular I really like. A little nod to Jurassic Park there with the... I don't know what they are, but electrical wire pointy fence things is about the best description you're going to get out of me. But the one I really like is the thick fence over here. Just for this is light cable, this is electrified cable, this is heavy cable. This one I love. The barbed wire at the top, that thick concrete at the bottom, you know, loads and loads of barbed wire sort of crossing over like a fishnet crossing over the middle. It's all thick and chunky. This is of course ripped straight from Jurassic Park 3 essentially. This is very similar to the fence, if I remember correctly, that the Spinosaurus breaks through during their, you know, lovely family reunion, and they think they're all safe, and then the Spinosaurus breaks through, is like, screw you guys, and it doesn't actually say that, that would be nuts, but still. Next up we have the Redwoods. I believe the Redwoods are the only part of this, unless I'm wrong, please someone correct me. The signs and stuff might be as well, I'm not sure on this, I'm really not, that are free. You know, they come with the update rather than the DLC. There's a new patch today, we're going to cover a little bit of that a little bit later anyway, but the Redwoods do seem to be part of that. So everybody will have the Redwoods available, and you can build some really cool parks. The Redwoods are of course pretty important just because Isla Sorna, i.e. Site B, i.e. The Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3, although I'd say the former more than the latter, use the Redwoods quite a lot, to the point where a lot of people do associate them with Jurassic Park. I think back to playing the Hunter Primal and roaming the redwood forests being hunted by raptors, and that's like the best Jurassic Park experience I've had. And it wasn't even a Jurassic Park game, so Redwoods are very intrinsically tied to the game, and it's nice that they're here. They are a placeable item, they're not a brush. And they're also very slightly bugged right now, in that they do not raise your forest rating when you place them down. They take up a lot of room, and they are, you know, trees, but they don't raise the forest rating of your dinosaurs. The other placeable plants, as in if we go and use the master tree, which is this tree over here, by the way, it's the best tree in the world, that will raise their forest rating by quite a lot. So it does seem to be a bug, but we'll have to wait and see if that ever changes. Either way, very cool. You can build some beautiful exhibits available to everyone right now, basically. Go play with some Redwoods, stick some Stegos in there, have fun. The last things we're going to take a look at then are the decorations. I'm going to swap back to NVIDIA Ansel for this. We have a restroom decoration, so this doesn't do anything. People will not be urinating in this decoration, but it does look instead like the one from Jurassic Park, from the signpost, from its small stature. You know, it's a little building hunched away, tiny little wooden hut with a thatched roof, and again we have tons of foliage just behind it, but foliage more representing what it would have had in Jurassic Park itself. The only situation I can really think of using this is if you were trying to recreate the Jurassic Park scene from Jurassic Park, and I think that's how most people will use it in the end. But the fact that they've built this and put it into the game for basically that purpose, I think that's actually pretty cool. Over here we have our new signposts for the East Dock, the Helipad, the Visitor Centre, and the Aviary. Those are the 4 we've got. So again, you could label your important stuff. One thing I do want to show you, this is a slight problem that I hope gets changed. You try to put these signs down, you can't zoom in any further than this, right? So it's actually, like, my eyesight is pretty good, and I can see where that's facing. That's facing to the right, that's facing to the left, but it's quite difficult to see. And I imagine if your eyesight is just not, you know, great or not even good, or, you know, some people do struggle with vision, that's totally the case. I think you'd really struggle to place these down and know which way they're facing. So I think being able to zoom in further or have a way of knowing which way they're facing as you're placing them would really help out a few people, because I think people will actually struggle with this. I know, like, when I'm tired and I can't see, I struggle with it as well. But there they go, E-stock, very, very cool. We also got some lights, and it would be silly to show lights and not turn them on. So let's hop very quickly back to nighttime. Like so, and swing, the lights turn on. They just permanently glow, they don't cost anything. They're just pretty cool if you want to decorate your park a little bit more than we have in the past. Back to Ansel then for the final show. We're going to go onto this side actually, and these are dinosaur signs basically. They're just signs for the dinosaur exhibits. The Dilophosaurus one, oddly enough, is probably the most recognisable in Jurassic Park. It's the first one we see. It's probably more... I'd say it's more prominently displayed than most of the others. As you're driving along, approaching the Dilophosaurus paddock, this is standing there on the left-hand side. It's a beautiful recreation, and people are going to love using these in their parks, I'm sure of that much. We've got a Dilophosaurus, we've got a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You'll see these actually have different colourings on them. We've got a Velociraptor. These both in red, indicating most dangerous, and the Dilo in yellow, carnivore, but not the most dangerous carnivore. Swinging further over, we've got the Brachiosaurus, the Parasaurolophus, the Triceratops, and the Gallimimus. Now, it's worth noting that these are indeed green. When we first saw them, they were actually yellow. They were all yellow, just like this Dilo one over here. And I think this is the style people more widely accept with Jurassic Park. But the interesting thing about these is, although you never see the Parasaur sign, say, in the film, there was a brochure that came with the original film, or like one built for the original film, that had a park map. And this layout with the green, with the red, with the yellow, is how it was laid out in that brochure, in the map in the brochure. So I think that's like a really cool little deep cut into the franchise lore to make these as accurate as possible. We do have some new ones. We've got the Pteranodon. But if you are making a dinosaur that's not on this list, these are of course the dinosaurs and Pteranodon focused on in general in this DLC. These are the original Isla Nublar dinosaurs by and large. If you wanted to add a little bit more, we have these. I didn't realise until today that these are ginormous, but they are, for some reason, twice the bloody size. We have these ginormous signs for all the different creatures in the game. So if you were doing an Ankylosaurid exhibit, you could put this down. It doesn't say the name, but it doesn't really have to. People will get the idea. Ankylosaurids, we've got ceratopsids, we've got our hadrosaurs, we've got... Look, the point is they're all bloody here. Let's just skirt through those quickly. Is that meant to be the hadrosaur? I think so. I don't even know what these all are. That's our ornithomimids, if I had to guess. Or maybe that is. What are you then? Stegosaurid, ornithomimid. Sauropod, Pachycephalosaurid. I've made a mistake somewhere, God only knows. We've got our large carnivores, our medium carnivores, and our small carnivores as well. So you can use all these signs to just decorate your park. We've been looking for signs for a long time. I'd like to see this pushed even more. Bins, decorations, fountains, flower beds, stuff like that. Even if guests don't interact with them, just the ability to place these things down really helps bring our parks to life. I love that we've had some of the lights, the signs, the new decorations in general. They're a really, really good step in the right direction. I just hope it's something that keeps being developed, because Jurassic World's problem, in my opinion, has always mainly been the lack of variety and creativity that were allowed in our parks. Now, this is hardly Planet Zoo levels. It's never going to be Planet Zoo levels, but it's at least a good step in the right direction. Anyways, there you go, folks. That is every single building, decoration, everything you're going to unlock that isn't a dinosaur if you purchase Return to Jurassic Park. The campaign is not that long. It's 3 hours, 4 hours at a push, something like that. But there's so much work in new buildings and stuff like that. This content that we're looking at right here is substantial compared to every other DLC we've had in the past. Not to mention the dinosaur remodels and the new compy and the Pteranodon. There's a lot going on here. It's really good stuff. The visitor centre is beautiful. A lot of the buildings are how you would imagine them to be. There's some deep cuts into the franchise. The aviary is amazing. I've got lots to love about this. Plus we finally have a Raptor Pen, and that's really cool. Right, this took way longer than I thought it would. I just don't stop talking. I can't help myself. I have a problem. But if you enjoyed this video, please do consider throwing me a like. We're still not done for the day. We do have a few more videos planned, a few more dinosaurs to take a look at, so stick around for that. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to help support me a little bit more, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. There's a link in the description down below. Every little really does help in times like these, but it's not at all expected, and by just watching the video you've already helped me out massively, and it makes you a pretty cool person, so well done you. Thanks for joining me either way, I'll see you next time.